I'm Renee Richel, the founder and president of One True Match. I'm here to help you find and cultivate the love of your life. For over a decade, I've dedicated my life to the importance, purpose, and dynamic of human relationships. My team and I are disciplined by faith, love, and integrity to help our clients find the quality relationship they've always dreamt of. Each week, I will be sharing the tools and tips I've learned that have rooted my success as a matchmaker with other leaders around the world.
Hello, loves. Welcome back. I am so excited to be sitting in our new podcast studio with the one and only Connie. And she is here to join us for one of our relationship, obviously, topics, because that's what we talk about at One True Match here, right? One True Talks. And so today, what we're going to talk about, which first of all, actually, before we get into our talk, we have to talk about our new logo.
Yeah. I mean, do you see this?
Right? We are branding. I think some of the feedback was we need to be more casual, which I'm loving. So we're not always like in our, business suits and everything else. So we are really excited this season to talk about all these incredible things that are coming out to help people find not only the love of their life, but keep love lasting. And so one of our newest designs is our heart logo that is completely complete, because that is the goal where we want to get everybody to be in when they are finding true love, when they are keeping a relationship lasting, and they are in it for the eternity that I believe, and of course our faith, that God's decided it to be forever, right?
100%. So look at us. Not only are we coming with a new studio, we have new looks too. So
I know
that's fancy.
I know. It's so true. So today, one of the topics was we always want to give relationship advice because all of our viewers out there, that is what they seek, whether you're single, dating, engaged, or married. And we talk about this all the time in our team meetings and just in conversation. And so it's so important to make sure that we are driving this point home when we talk about all things. And if this is not relatable to you, please pass the message along.
And trust me, it is relatable to you too, because we're also getting, once we kind of dig a little deeper, I don't want to give it all away just yet, but it really is relatable to you because with this techie world we're going in, it relates to us every day. Even if exactly what we talk about isn't maybe in a relationship, it's probably going to come to the grocery stores. It's what you think, you have a different image of stuff, I would say. So this isn't. So before you skip ahead and only think it's about relationship, there's actually some really good tips on this about your general life. And now, of course, we always focus on married couples as well, but it's not necessarily just love we're focusing on here, I feel like. It brings in a little twist of actually technology is taking over our whole world.
It's very true. And I'm actually going to throw Connie on the spot because as we're interviewing more incredible guests this time, I'm going to have Connie share a little bit about her story. She's looking at me like, what? Right? Because I don't think I'm supposed to be introducing our guests, even though, you are a guest, your family, you're part of our entire team, right? But it's really important to also share a little bit about your life and your love journey before we get into this topic, because I think it's important that we're starting to get a little more personal in what our situations are, right?
Yeah. Okay. She truly did throw me under the bus here. Sometimes when you're like, that stage, no. So you might have to give me a minute, or if I stumble,
So let me ask a specific question. Yeah. Have you found the true of your love of your life?
Yes, I have. I am happily married, and we actually celebrated our 3-year wedding anniversary yesterday. So perfect timing.
Congratulations. We love that, right? And now the goal is to continue the relationship so that it lasts forever. Yeah. And how you do that is by nurturing it.
Yes.
And so for all of you out there that are looking for, obviously, the love of your life or to continue to grow a relationship, it's really important that you work on a relationship that you already have and you continue to anticipate the long-term longevity forever, right? So you can't, as you know, in your marriage and relationship is it takes two, and you can't just bring one part to it without somebody else, right?
And even if you're listening to this and you think, I have the perfect marriage, it's going so great, I don't need to. One thing I've learned as a matchmaker is that you have to invest every single day. And I mean, of course we know that, but I even think listening to our own podcast or even me guiding a client on their love journey, it reminds me of things that I maybe didn't even think about sometimes when you get just caught up in a happy marriage. And it's okay to admit out loud, like no one's perfect, but you have to invest every single day and remember to date your mate. And anyone that's listened to the old season with me on it and heard plenty of me, you know, I'll say that over and over again. So with this new season, I will continue to do so, but that's the important thing. So if you are listening to this and you are single, married, I mean, maybe just finding yourself and going to be in the marriage or, you know, relationship pool in the future, I just don't think too many lessons are never too many, if that, I made that up as saying, but it kind of sounds like it sounds right. So basically you can never get enough teaching.
Right, which I always say, which is so important. So the fact that you're sitting here listening, we want to definitely give you valuable advice. And exactly what we're doing right now is the authentic conversation we're having.
Yeah.
And I think the reality of it is so many times, especially like in today's day and age, we get lost in technology. We get lost in you know, texting. Like so many times, you know, couples come to us, or just in general, people will talk about their relationship history and they're like, oh my gosh, all my ex did is they were ever on their phone and they were ever texting and they were never present and all these things, which hence I just did our 100th episode on Couch Talk and why we're sitting here on the couch having more Couch Talk conversations. If you've listened to any of our podcasts in the past, which I encourage you to listen to, we talk about like when I had that breaking moment I called Connie, and I'll never forget, I was driving downtown, driving over the bridge, and I'm like, we need couch talk. Yeah. And it wasn't a bad thing. It was just meant like at the end of the day, we just need to either have a glass of wine or have a cup of coffee or just like connect, right? Just because there was a lot of things going on I feel that we needed to share. Yeah,
and that's the main thing is keeping that connection. It's so easy. I mean, think of when you go to the grocery store, you see everyone, and I can't talk because I am in the generation before I slate the generation too much. But everyone on their phone, they'll go to the cashier, they'll check, and still be on their phone, and they haven't looked up once. But we should all still be about human relationships.
Right.
And even giving that cashier a smile. And so that's just like, that's couch talk. Like, remember to always stay connected. However busy, hectic, your phone, I mean, working remote, I know that throws a spanner in the works, but just always to make sure that you are truly staying connected to other humans, especially in this crazy world of technology.
Exactly. So what the topic is, which we normally say right from the beginning, but today we're kind of changing it up, which is fun, right? In the new series, is we are going to talk about the 3 places you should not use Chat GPT, right? Which if any of you out there know what that is, or maybe don't, Google it because I can't explain it all. But at the end of the day, it's basically using technology to write your authenticness of who you are and write your messages and articulate whatever's in your mind to be able to write it out so that people can view it. Right?
Yeah. And it's practically a robot. I mean,
it is.
It is a robot, and it does exactly, in the baby version of learning someone, what it does is it's a robot that can basically do whatever you want for it. Like, you tell it, it does it.
Right.
So,
which is amazing in so many areas.
Yes.
But when it comes to actually dating today, the reality of it is people will always say, well, how do I meet people? And they go online and they're on apps and all these other things. And they're like, we can't hear it enough and enough and enough over again, as they miss that authenticity, which is exactly going back to the olden days of matchmaking, because all we do is connect with people one-on-one, actually having conversations. So I would say probably the number one place you should not use Chat GPT is on a profile.
Yeah, and this is a big no-no. Like, don't even think about it. And I feel like I've, heard it, oh, you should just use it. You should just use it, blah, 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 in like different case scenarios. But it's also one of those things, once you start doing it. So that's what I say.
You get like addicted to it, right?
And then it's like, oh, I'll just use it for one picture on my dating profile. Next minute, it writes your whole bio. Next minute, it does this, it does that.
It's kind of like getting lazy in a relationship with yourself to begin with.
Yeah, don't even put your toe in that hot water, because you'll just quickly sink into it. It's like what we're saying is, do not use it when it comes to dating, because if online dating wasn't already hard enough, which I think we talked about it. We talk about it. Everyone, I don't know one person that said, my online dating has been so smoothly. Like, that. If you tell me that, I'm going to be like, liar.
Right? Which also I feel like brings us to point number 2.
Yeah.
Is don't use it on a first date.
Yes.
I mean, if you seriously are sitting here and you're like, why can't I find this person? How do I meet this person? If you're not doing something creatively different, which is different than online dating, to meet and connect with somebody, and you're not practicing this when you're single, and if you're married and you're going on, which your first date should always be your first date, regardless how many years you're married, right?
Yeah. So
if you start treating it into this is just another date and this is just getting boring, well, I mean, you're starting to get into the chat GPT phase, right? Yeah. Where it's literally a robotic phase of your life and you're not really personally connecting anymore. And so like we always say, like, number 2 is definitely don't use it on a date. Yeah. And what I mean by that is like you're so many times people come to us and say, okay, so what are the rules of dating? People will Google all day long. What are the rules of like dating? What should you do? What should you not do? And yes, okay, we have kind of protocols and things, but they're all genuine in the way of like old school courting. And
if I go out, if you're our client and I say, and you come to me and say, Connie, what should I say on this date? I will never tell you, say ABC word for word. You have to, like, even using matchmakers, like you have to bring your authentic self. I had to think about that word as I said it. Authentic self to your date. Yeah. And don't stop catfishing people. We're already living in a world of catfishes, and GPT, I felt like we're butchering that one up. It's just making us catfish more. So do not do it. Like, instead of if you Google or, use this to say, oh, what should I ask on a date? You're going to go in thinking, I need to ask this, 1, 2, 3. And guess what that's going to turn into? A job interview. And it's going to have no personality. You're going to seem like the boringest person ever. So although it seems like it's your best friend, it's actually your worst enemy too, because it's going to make you seem like a total bore. You know what I mean? Without being rude.
I totally agree. So I feel like coming from both of our lips, as well as ton of our success from if you take nothing more out of this, and this is if you're dating, engaged, or married, is you literally, if somebody doesn't fall in love with your genuineness, is probably the right word, of who you are, that loves you even in the moments where maybe you've had a crazy day, which I always say don't go on a date if you've had a crazy day. But let's say it's already planned and everything else, do things to like check your mind, be in the right state of frame of mind, right? But also to like come with who you are. Because if somebody doesn't love you, like our biggest job is like, sometimes we have to send people on like 5 to 10 or 15 dates, right? But then they get to get more of an ounce of who they are, because we get to be able to see, as matchmakers, both sides of the dates.
Yeah, and you're finding yourself.
Right?
Like, say you're going out on that first date and you're like, oh, that just didn't go well. Well, guess what? You came out with some incredible feedback. Like, don't take it as, oh, that was a flop. No. Like, let's think of the good things. Like, self-analyze the date. Like, do it from your own perspective. Don't go on a date and be like, that person was terrible, da-da-da-da-da. You come back in yourself and be like, okay, what could have I done better? Because really, you're all that matters. And especially on those dates that, don't go so well.
Right. And if you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, I was frazzled from work, or I had a busy day or whatever, then in those cases, you and I, calendar people, we don't like to reschedule. But even us both know there are times where we need to like change the plan, because if we're not our best version of ourselves, then we shouldn't be on a first, a second, a 50th date, a 5 millionth date, right? Like the reality of it is like, those are the moments, especially if you're married and you're with somebody forever, they're going to understand. And you're like, babe, we just need to sit at home and I just want to canoodle and snuggle on the couch or whatever it is. Or like, today's not the best day, but I want to reschedule for tomorrow. Yeah. So like those are the conversations that need to happen, but you have to be your best version of yourself. And maybe you're a little bit quirky, or maybe you're goofy, or you're that person that like, how many times do we say, we can't make this stuff up, right? Like we're those people that like, if you're going to trip on like a cord, Connie and I are going to be the ones that trip on the cord. Like it's going to happen. But so somebody's got to love you for the fact that we're like, we have those moments, we have those mishaps. Like if somebody doesn't, then, the reality of it is you don't want to be in a GPT box where you're just so unreal, because the truth will come out the more time that you spend together, and your little quirks and other things like that. And so it's so important that on a first date, you are bringing authentically who you are, but with positivity, energy, and excitement, because you also, nobody wants to hear all of your burdens on any date.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a prime example. You'll probably, I mean, in the amount of episodes that I will be on in the near future, probably, you'll probably see me fall off the couch, tip something, kick something, whack my microphone. Like, that's the whole point of everything, is to be authentic.
I know, because now we don't have like a desk in front of us.
Like,
we can't hide behind it. We're already trying to figure out how to sit on this couch that's kind of slippery, I gotta be honest. So I don't know how long this couch is going to last. But anyway, okay, sorry, we digress.
But going into that is photos. Photos with GBT. So many people use them. GPG. And what? Oh my goodness. It would help. GPT. Okay, well, see, here's the whole authentic. This is being real. If I use this, I would cut this out, and it isn't happening.
We're not doing it.
So it's also the photos. I'm seeing every day people, you know, even a new client, he came up to me. I love the picture of this girl and this girl and this girl, and she's my type. Da-da-da. I wanted to say, hey, buddy, guess what? That is fake, robot. Like, you can tell by like the blemishes, the thing. But it leaves a very unrealistic idea of what dating looks like. So everyone, and a lot of people are using this for headshots, professional headshots, dating online. Like, we are telling you it is a no to do this. Like, let's be honest, if I get it. I mean, I would love to. I would love to do this video whole GPT, so then I would look glowing and lovely.
Oh, good job. You got it.
But, you know, like, don't do that in the dating world, because it's not okay. And you are going to catfish someone. You'll go on that show. What's the show? The Catfish. Like, I think it's literally called Catfish, where you go on a date and you turn up and there's totally someone different. I'm not joking. You think I'm being dramatic, but some people are going to get into such the habit. And we all know, like we just said, if you test the water, I'm just going to let this GPT.
All right, so I'm going to help you. I was actually thinking about this as you're talking, to come to like our own version of GPT. So remember it. Guest personal touch. We're going to create our own GPT.
Oh, we're getting
like, you should have this ability to connect with your guest, whoever that is, because it could be a friendship, it could be a forever love, right? In a personal way that you also touch them. So we're coming up with our own GPT. Hopefully you'll remember that now.
If you're going to use it, you use this version.
This is the version you use, right? Not technology, because we really need to figure out what exactly the acronym is for it. But the point is, what we're trying to do is we're not mocking it, because it is good in so many ways when it comes to business and it comes to life and it comes to like making our life easy. We are not like diluting the point of the future way to make us more efficient and more effective, so that we have more personal time with the people that matter, right?
But we're also in a wonderful world that we're moving that way. But when it comes to love, you cannot get caught up in this kind of mayhem,
right? I mean, of just like such a systematic way that you lose that personal touch. Otherwise, you might as well just be alone for the rest of your life, because part of a relationship is doing it authentically with somebody else. So the third point that I definitely want to bring home before Connie and I could talk for 5 hours. You guys could come to a sleepover and just talk about all the things we talk about, right? But like, I also want to talk about how we should absolutely not use the technology side of GPT, not my new version. We cannot be using it on text messages or letters or whatever when we're trying to be interpersonal, because the reality of it is like, so many times we have cleaned up the damage. I hate to call it damage, but it is what it is, that people have either used the voice texting, which is kind of like chat GPT, right? Or anything else. And they're literally just sending it because they've gotten such an robotic way of using that. And they think, well, maybe I'm not a good speller. Or maybe this is actually better than saying Siri and it says something totally different, right? Yeah. But the reality of it is, it also loses that humanality of like this interpersonal connection of somebody actually took time to write like a little love note or a little love letter or, you know, something like, I mean, we're all famous in the office. Like, we'll just put a little Post-it on, you know, somebody's desk or their computer or something. And we're just like, love you. Like, when maybe like they just feel like, you know, the client is like, or something, or they're just, you know, like all of our clients, we feel like they're our children. Yeah. Right. So like,
sometimes it's like, oh my goodness, my children just had a not date that wasn't the most perfect.
Right. And we're like, we're so mad. And we're like, why didn't they do this? But we're also like, we need to give a little extra touch of love so that we're also, well, God has a plan for everything, right?
Yeah.
So that was not the right match but yet what do we learn from it? What do we learn from it? We put on our bootstraps and we go to somebody else that's better for them. And I think, the reality of it is, I don't mean to turn this all back to matchmaking, but that is part of it when it comes to picking your forever mate. Mm-hmm. And if you are somebody that has found your forever mate, please be an advocate to be a mentor to those who also need it. Send them to us so that we can honestly be there.
Who is just relying on this stuff.
I know.
Going down a loophole now.
I know. Like I was dropping off my daughter to school earlier and she's looking out the window and, in the area we live, there's a bunch of golf carts and everything else. And all these kids are going to the high school and they're on golf carts and all this other stuff. And Olivia's looking out the window and she's like, Mom, there's like a line. And I said, yeah, someday, honey, you're going to be that age and you might be on a golf cart and you're going to be driving to school and you're going to be on your own. And now she's asking like, wait, do I go on the school bus to myself? I'm like, well, I don't know about that. But like the reality of it is like these conversations, if they don't start happening and all the kids are literally on their phones and they're not talking, unless you want to be married or with a robot for the rest of your life, really, what are you doing? Because you're not setting up the communication skills that you need to do when you're single and in relationships with just other people, or you're also like, especially that generation, like you're saying, all they know to do is
lean on those things.
Yeah.
And also one thing that always I'm like, when you think about using this, as humans, we make mistakes, right? All of us make mistakes and that's fine. But are you really going to give your hand, good example. If I was making a mistake, say I handled conflict with my husband. I'm throwing myself real under the bus here, but
we started it off. We're bringing it back. This is good.
Yeah. So say I handled conflict with my husband, not good. I'm not going to pass my phone over to Renee and say, hey, can you handle it instead? Because I'm going to be like, well, if she messes up, we're not going to go well. If someone else, so you always take your own responsibility. So it's the same difference. Are you going to really give something over to a robot? Not even a real human, like we said, not bashing it because it's
even
so
when
helpful,
sometimes we help craft messages,
it's still
we're human. And only because we know our clients as if they are our own children, literally we have that ability to know them. In our job of what we do. It's like, because we know them so well, we have to reprogram the programmed way almost of how to communicate. And so many times people come to us endless times, whether it be single, dating, engaged, or married, right? And they're like, we've just lost that personal connection. And we're like, because you have relied so much on technology to communicate for you. Yeah. And you've never actually thought about what the other person thinks and feels to be able to communicate not only what you want to say, but also what the other person and how they'll receive it and they feel.
Yeah. And it's just like, you wouldn't go to someone else. If you go into a doctor's appointment, you're not going to go to a plumber for a doctor's appointment, are you? Like, you're not going to mix those around. So it's with matchmaking. We are professionals. So that sounds like I'm tooting our own horn, but we're professionals. So we can kind of go from that client. So some client may maybe talk like this. So I do it all the time. Client A and client B, and they both have the same case scenario. Say, for example, I don't know, same case. I'm going to tell them different feedback because they speak differently. They do differently. So Chat GBT. P. Did I say it again? Oh my goodness. All right. I'm getting fired off the podcast. That's it.
You can never come back. You can never. No, I'm just kidding. We love you too much.
Yeah. So with that though, it's the same thing all the time. It's like same personality. So guess what? If you say 10 people are using it and a guy is going out, gone out on dates with 5 different women, different times, just finding his one. Right. Yeah, all separately. We're not at the same time. Let's make that real clear here. But they're all using Chat GPT.
I'm going to put it on my head.
Then it will make it easier. That they will, they're going to hear the same thing. Like, this is the same program. It is a program kind of type thing. So you're having no personality. So do not use it.
Well, and I always say, part of life, so if you're out there listening to this and you're a little bit younger and this is your generation of Chat GPT, right? The reality of it is you're getting into such a rhythm that then you wonder, well, why am I not connecting with people? Mm-hmm. So, these are the areas that we always say, if you don't know something, we're here to be your tool, to be your guide. Write in, message us, say, hey, we want to learn about this. It's anonymous. We're never going to put somebody out there. But it's so important if you have a curious mind to understand and to be the best relationship that you've ever seen or you ever want in your life, because every relationship is completely unique, just like every single heart is designed uniquely, right? It's finding your unique match that builds the world to be a better place because of the two of you. So if you long for that, if you desire that, or you're looking for that, follow up with us, because of course I'm getting the red light now, because this always happens, or we need to leave and love and come back to have more conversations about this topic and others, because I think this is so relevant and so important to where the future is heading. If we don't still learn how to have these couch talk conversations, which we're doing, right? To be able to connect and have a deeper relationship that's so off the grid of what technology is bringing us to today. So again, it's good in so many areas.
I mean, use it to design your backyard. Like, use it for something else. Don't use it for your love life, because you will fail. And that's that in a more
and we're not going to
brutal
be
way.
Hopefully, in my life and generations under, we're not going to be replaced like our heart with a chip. But when that day comes, then this would make sense in your love life. But the reality of it is don't use it in so many areas of laziness, because Connie can sit here and say, and we've all been like in relationships that haven't worked because we haven't put our full intention and our full authenticity and our desire for a relationship to work because of that. And so this is why we felt this is so important to talk about, is how people need to kind of get off the grid of technology and really get back into the heart of human connection, so that it continues to grow from generation to generation, so that we all feel that true love that we want forever.
Yeah, and it's just like, even if you get tempted, don't go down those muddy waters. Like I said,
call us, text us, we'll give you answers. We're really good at that.
When you're panicking, but you want
like humanness.
When you want to use it, go design your bathroom or your backyard or something. Use it for something like that.
Yeah,
I used it. I'll put my hands up. I used it for that, for our backyard design. And then, but when it comes to love, message us on Instagram, Facebook, any social medias. We're under One True Match. And of course,
and we're there to help you find the designed love that God has desired you to find off Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Right?
Any questions, ask us. Not the right.
Right. So we are going to love and leave you. And I'm so excited to have you in the new studio for many, many more chats to come. And we hope you have a blessed day.
Bye.
Bye.
It's been another great talk on this episode of One True Talks by Renee Richel. I look forward to our next chat. Please write in your questions and comments so I can be sure to talk about whatever it is you want to discuss in our next upcoming episode. Lots of love. God bless. XOXO.